Hello, thanks for visiting our web tutorials. Tonight we're going to learn how to use the Google Drive, the cloud-based storage from Google that it gives all of its clients for free. We're going to learn how to use that Google Drive to host our own web page and website and use it as our web server. So we're going to learn that. There's about a 3-step process to doing that, and we're also going to learn how to register a free domain name and point that domain name at our Google Drive and our Google shared folder so that we can use that domain name to point to our website and our web pages. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to start by signing into Google for Google accounts. If you don't have a Google account, you're going to want to create one right here. If you have a YouTube account, if you have a Gmail account, if you have a Google account, a Google Plus account, you already have a Google account. It's all the same account. But if you don't, you're going to want to use create an account here. I have a tutorial just on creating a Gmail account. That'll, if you need to follow that tutorial, go ahead and search for that. But we're going to go ahead and enter my email address, which is mhukelleher@gmail.com. My password is, just kidding, I'm not telling. And I'm in. And how do I know I'm in? Well, it's got my name, okay, and I guess it's got my picture. And you can see if you put your mouse over it, it hovers over and tells you what the account is. So that's my account right there. Good. But what we're looking for is Google Apps. And this little square here with the 9 smaller squares is the Google Apps, as you can see from the tooltip. Okay, once I click on this, it opens up a 3x3 or 9 more squares and the actual icons of the Google Apps that are available. There are many more available. That's 17 that we just saw, and then I can actually click on this and see a lot more. I don't want to waste any time and do that. So what we want is the 8th app in the list, and that's called the Drive. Now, what Google Drive is a cloud-based storage on their servers, in which they give each person with a Google account 15 gigabytes of free storage to store anything they want. So they've also made it so that we can create a folder with properties that allow us to share that on the internet with anybody without having them to authenticate. So let's see how we do that. What I'm going to want to do is, let's see, I do have a folder called website. So I'm going to create a different folder called new folder, and I'm going to call this folder host. That's going to be the name of the folder. You can call yours anything you want. Host, website, those all work well. Site, something like that. Okay, so let's take a look at this for a minute and see if we can see that, what's that whole thing. One of these things is not like the others. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the hierarchical view, and we can see that we can see the tree here of all the different folders in here. There is an arrow next to photos because there's a folder inside of photos, one called selfies. That's the only reason that's there. But one of these folders looks different. The one called website. That's because this is my maybe 3rd or 4th take in creating this video tutorial. And in one of the takes I actually created a folder called website, and I gave it the property of share, which is what we're going to do now, which is what you need to do with the folder that you just created. So whatever the name of the folder you just created, let's go and right click on it. And when I right click on it, you'll notice that a drop down menu appears and one of the options is share. So I'm going to go ahead and click on share, and we get a share with others dialog box. You can put people's names, put people's emails, addresses in here. That's going to be inefficient for what we want to do. What we want to do is allow everybody to see our website. We really don't want anybody to edit our web pages or any documents we have in that folder. So I'm going to change this by using the drop-down menu, and instead of can edit, I'm going to choose can view. Alright, so I want people to view it, I just don't want them to edit it. I'm going to choose the advanced link now. This is important. Who can access this folder? Well, right now it's private and only you can access. Who is you? That's me, Martin Kelleher. Okay, very handsome picture right here. So only you can access this folder. That's not any good. If I'm the only one that wants to look at this web page, we've got some problems, right? So we need to change this. So there's a link for change. I'm going to click on that, and we've got a couple different options. Anyone with the link, or we can actually make it public on the web. Anyone on the internet can find and access this page. No sign-in required. That's what we want. Okay, so I'm giving it full rights. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. It does say public on the web. Anyone on the internet can find this. You know, I'm the owner. I'm the only one who can edit it. And here's the path to it. Now this is important. I really don't want you to memorize any of this. I do want you to see ID equals 0B7XW. Just remember that part of it, because that's going to be important. We're going to need this URL, or part of this URL, to make our site visible on the internet for everybody else. So I'm going to show you later how we're going to copy this URL, and we're going to forward it to a much shorter domain name, one that's going to be easy for us to remember. Alright, so right now we're done. We've created a folder and we've shared it on the web. Notice that our little man, or a little logo for sharing, is now available in the host. Let's go ahead and open the host folder. Oh, nothing in there. That's fine. Didn't expect there to be anything in there. Okay, but it is shared. Now, this is important. Where is it shared? How do we find things on the internet? Well, on the internet we use something called Universal Resource Locators, and that means something like www.google.com. Okay, very easy name to remember, very easy to get to. The internet knows how to translate that name into an IP address, route your request to that IP address, send the information back to you. Your browser then displays it as a web page. Okay, so all that's happening in milliseconds. What we need to do is we need to be able to have an address so that we can tell people where is our page going to be. Well, remember I told you to remember the 0B7XWB after the ID equals? Well, you're going to want to copy everything after the word folders. That's not true. Let me restate that. Everything after the front slash after the word folder. So I'm going to go ahead and click at the very end. I'm going to hold the shift key down, and I'm going to use my arrows to highlight everything up to folders. Notice that after the backslash I've got everything covered. So now I hit Control C, and I've copied the back end of that URL. Okay, very important. Now, next step, I got to have something in this folder to view on the internet. Well, lucky for me that I do some HTML5 and some cascading style sheet tutorials. And so, doing those tutorials, I've created in Notepad++, I've created some very small files. One of them I've called index.html. So what I need to do is I need to take this file. You notice it's on my desktop, HTML and CSS tutorials. That folder's on my desktop. I'm going to drag this file from that folder and drop it right into my Google Drive. Not just my drive, but my drive and the folder called host, which I just created the share for. I'm going to go ahead and drop it. The minute I drop it, you'll notice that it says it's uploading one item, and when it's done, it's going to say upload complete. That's beautiful. Okay. Now it uploaded index.html. It inherited the property called share. Anytime you drop something into this folder, the folder called host, it's going to inherit the properties of the parent. The parent host has the share property of public on the web, so it's shared. So this file by nature then also inherits the property called share, which is important. We want people to be able to see this HTML file. So now we've got a web page, although it's very small and very rudimentary, but we've got a page on our Google Drive, and we've got the URL. We know how to point to it. What else we got to do? Well, let's talk about the name index.html. When a web browser goes to a server host, okay, and it's unfortunate that I use the word host for the file and I'm using the word host in the sentence by server. It doesn't mean the same thing. The host is hosting a website, okay? It's going to look for the file folder. It might be home, it might be website, it might be whatever. But within that shared folder, it's going to display all the list of all the files unless it sees a file called index. If it sees a file called index, it's going to display that file in the browser. So you always name your home page index.html. So I've got a little sample page. It's called Marty's sample page. We're about to see it. Nothing I'm very proud of. I use it for examples to teach people how to use cascading style sheets to format a website. Okay, now this is HTML. It's just the raw HTML. It's just putting the content on the page with no formatting. But let's take a look at it. How am I going to look at it? Well, I'm going to open up a new tab. And I need to remember this for a short period of time. So I'm glad it's in the tutorial. You may have to come back and look at this, but you need to remember this because you're going to need to type this in. And it is simple. It's Google Drive.com/host. Okay? Google Drive.com/host. Okay? Google uses a different domain in order to show shared files on the Google Drive. So this is what we have to use this path. Now, the remaining of this path is going to be what we copied after the ID equals symbol in the long URL that we couldn't possibly remember. So I'm going to go ahead and paste it, Control V, and it pasted that long name there. I'm going to just kind of scroll through it to show you. That's a really long URL, right? GoogleDriveHost.com. Okay, well, it's all there. Let's see what happens now. So if I did it right, it's going to display the contents of that HTML file. What do you know? There's Marty's sample page. Awesome. All right. So, next step. This page is displaying as written, and it's dropped in my Google Drive on my folder called Host, and it's displaying on the internet with this really long, tedious, unmemorable URL. There's no way anybody's going to ever remember this. Okay, so that brings us to the next problem. We need a domain name, www.martysamplepage.com or whatever. So let's call it that. Let's call it Marty's sample page. Okay, but we're going to call it martysamplepage.tk. Okay, that's what we're going to call it, and I'm going to explain to you why. What we're going to do is we're going to go to a free domain hosting. Oh, let's do something else first. No, I'll do it last. We're going to go to this free hosting, which is called .tk. And you see I've got it down here. It would be easy for me to click here, but I want to type it out for you. So it's www. And then the word dot, and then a dot, and then the letters TK. And I hit enter, and you'll see I'll be in the free domain. .tk is powered by Freenown. That's the name of the company. And I like it because it allows us to create a much shorter, memorable domain name, one we can point at, that long domain name that we have to copy right now. So let's go to Marty's website. There it is. I need to copy this right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click in there. I'm going to hit Control C. That's our new web page. I'm going to go back to this .freak, and I'm going to log into my account. Let's try and do this quickly. Log in. Let's go. Okay. So my email again is mukelleher@gmail.com. I have a different password for this one, I think. Let's try it, see if I remember it. And I'm correct. How do I know I'm correct? Because they're saying hello, Martin. They know me. It's beautiful. It's good to be known. Everybody likes to know your name. Wasn't that Cheers' motto? Okay, so register a new domain name. That's what I clicked on because that's what I want to do. So we decided we were going to go with Marty's sample page. Marty's sample page.tk. Okay, so we have to check and see if that's available. Somebody may have already taken that name. Oh, they didn't. It's available. So I can get, yes, martysamplepage.tk. The cost is $0. That's exactly the price I like. I'm going to go ahead and hit checkout. I get it for 3 months for free. I'm going to go ahead and bump that up to 12 months for free. And I'm going to forward this domain. Where to? Well, we know. We just copied the long, unmemorable domain name, and I'm going to hit Control-V to paste it, and there it is. How could we have possibly remembered that? We don't have to now, because now we know that Marty's samplepage.tk is pointed at this. So if it works correctly, and it will, all we'll have to remember is Marty's samplepage.tk, and it'll automatically point to that long domain name. Now, there's an invoice. I love an invoice that says $0.00. It is right in my budget. I could hit complete order, but it won't work. It'll keep bouncing me back, and I'll be like, why does it keep bouncing me back? Because I have to agree to the terms and conditions. If I don't agree to the terms and conditions, it doesn't let me go any further. Now that I've agreed, it'll let me keep going. It's going to tell me, hey, order confirmation. You could print that out if you want to. It's really not that big of a deal. They're going to send you an email with this confirmation stuff on it. And I'm going to go back to the client area. Why did I go back to the client area? Why couldn't I just close the browser or whatever? Well, remember, you logged into a page. It's really important to log out. So I'm going to go ahead and log out. It should tell me that I've successfully logged out. It won't say hello Martin anymore. And that's correct. You've been successfully logged out. Now what I can do is in the URL locator, I can simply type Marty's sample page.tk. I think that was our new domain, right? And let's see what happens. Oh, there it is. That's our same page, right? That page looks exactly like that page. Okay, cool. So our domain pointing is working. All we need to remember now is Marty's sample page. And again, you can call it anything you want, but I'm going to recommend .tk only because it's free. So I'm hoping that this tutorial has helped. I do want to show you one more thing. It might be what they would call in advertising a teaser, because I'd like you to look at some more of our tutorials, and most of our tutorials will be on HTML5 and cascading style sheets. So I really want to kind of show you what a cascading style sheet will do to a really plain web page. Okay, so here's my plain web page. It's got a little header here, all the way justified to the left. I would like that to be centered. I would also like the background of the header to be blue. I would also like the text of this to be white. I'd also like this text to not have bullet points. Okay, these links. I'd like this paragraph right here with the heading Marty's page. I'd like that paragraph to be up next to, in this area, next to the navigation. Okay, I'd like that to be centered on the page right over here somewhere, and I'd like the whole container to be centered in the page as such, with maybe a white background and a gray on the outside, the footer down at the bottom. How do I do that? Well, there's a couple ways you can do it, but a simple way is by using a cascading style sheet. So let me show you my cascading style sheet. So I can open this cascading style sheet for you, and you can see the background color of the body is gray. The container, the background color is white. I use a width of 800 pixels. I use a margin left, margin right auto. What that does is it gives an equal margin on both sides. I got the background color of the background of the header blue, and the text color white, with the text alignment center. Okay, you see that all of this is telling the browser how to format the elements, these are called elements, of the HTML. So let's see what happens when I drop this file into my Google Drive. So here I'm back in my Google Drive. I've got the index HTML. We know that that site is displaying properly. Okay, that's what it looks like, and that's exactly what this page is supposed to look like with just HTML. But if I go ahead and take this style.css and I drop it on the same, did I miss it? I might have missed it. What am I doing wrong here? Okay, let's click it and drag it. There we go. And if I drop it right here, into the folder, you notice that it's uploading. The uploads are complete. It didn't take long at all. Style CSS is a very small file. It inherited the property share. We love it. It's there. You can kind of see the format of it. So now let's go back and take a look at our web page. It looks the same. No good. Well, why is that? The browser read the web page the first time when there was no cascading style sheet linked to it. It said there was, but it couldn't find it, right? Because it wasn't in our host folder. Well, now that it's in our host folder, the browser hasn't really applied those formatting to the HTML because it hasn't refreshed itself. So if I choose refresh, which you can do it by the F5 button or you can do it by the little circle arrow, if I choose refresh, it should apply those cascading styles. There it is. So it kind of added a gray background to the whole body. It kind of added a white background to the container. It took the bullet points away from my links. It floated the second paragraph off to the right, so these two elements were kind of on the same level, and it left my footer down here on the bottom. Kind of get the idea of how the power of cascading style sheets. Again, all I had to do was put it in the same folder with my index.html. So you can have multiple folders, multiple files. I have video in mine. I have audio files, MP3s, MP4s. What else do I have? I have some script. That's another tutorial in the future, but on one of my pages, mhkelleher.tk, you'll see I have a contact form where you can actually fill out a form and hit submit, and some script from Google Apps will actually run on the host Google Drive folder and will convert the data on the form from HTML to a format that can be read by my email, and it will send me an email with that, with a date and time stamp and all that data that you entered in email format, which I can easily read in my Gmail. So there's a lot of things you can do with this. Have fun with it, but this is just a tutorial on how to set it up and get it going, and I hope this was very, very helpful. Please come back and check out some of our other tutorials. We're going to have some HTML5 tutorials, some cascading style sheet tutorials, some JavaScript tutorials, certainly some Excel tutorials, some Access tutorials, some Word tutorials, some PowerPoint, anything that you might think of IT, we're going to try and build up our library. So again, thank you for visiting our web.